Welcome back to a brand new live stream on the channel. Hope you guys are having a good day. Southlex, my friend, good to see you. Yas, good to see you. Kim, good to see you. Beam, good to see you as well. Delario, good to see you. Brian, good to see you as well. Sean, Savage, Scrub. How's everyone doing today? Julian, good to see you as well, bro. How you been? Now, I think the last time I went live was, I think we were somewhere down here actually. Well, I did say that, although we could come down to this box, but there is still a chance that BTC could put in a higher low, higher low, and then go higher. And that's exactly how it played out. At the moment, what's happening in the markets is we've just had, a long squeeze. So the people generally, when the market moves up, this much in a very fast period of time, what happens is people, the degens, go and put 50x longs, 30x longs, and market makers have to take those out. And that's basically what's happened. So I think it was over 100 million longs being liquidated. However, let me see, where is CoinGlass? Let me see if we can find it. If you go on here, right, you guys can see most people are currently short rather than long. So what they've done is they've liquidated the longs and they're going to stockpile the shorts now. And I think after the shorts have been stockpiled, they're going to send it higher and liquidate all the shorts. So I think the market makers are playing mind games. So the longs over here, people got too excited. They're putting the high leverage longs, market makers come and hunt them down. Exactly what happens. Could we come down and hit the 50-day moving average on the 4-hour chart? Of course we can. That would put it at 120.5. But every single time, you get this, when you put in a new all-time high, 9 times out of 10, you come back down. And when there's more shorts than longs, you are going to go higher. So I do think the next target for us is going to be above 130K, and, somewhere in this area, maybe 130 to 138K. That's what the fib tells us that we're going to head center next. And that is going to be a good area to potentially, if you have any trades open, if you're opening trades now, for example, it's going to be a good area to actually take some profits off the table on your trades. Very, very true. If you're watching, just hit the likes. I would appreciate it. So, how you doing, bro? Decline, good to see you as well. Damn, the OGs are here. Shahid, good to see you, bro. How you been? Legend, good to see you as well. Hit the likes, guys. Let's get to... Actually, I don't really matter how many likes we get. I don't really care anymore, to be honest, but I am still going to be going live regularly. Anyways, I'm going to give you guys some updates on some of the projects. A few bullish things that's coming up for us is... I think it's already happened now. No, next week at least, UK is going to be lifting the ban on crypto. So for retail investors, and this is starting to happen now because I'm able to make a bigger account now. So I think a lot of these exchanges are going to potentially come back to the UK, which is very, very good. We also have, is it this one here? We've also had Lumas saying the strategic Bitcoin reserve could start anytime. Now, last time they did say that the reserve at least is going to be a stockpile of whatever Bitcoin they've saved up. But then in other meetings, they've said they're not going to use taxpayers' money to buy Bitcoin. However, they can use other means to purchase Bitcoin, which in this case is more time going to be tariff money. So they can use tariff money. Yeah, I said it looks like a guy. She's old, bro. She's probably got a bunch of stuff done to her face. But anyway, she's talking about getting a Bitcoin reserve, which I think could be the catalyst for the next move. We also have a bunch of ETFs that's potentially going to get accepted. Now, the Grayscale staking Ethereum ETF just got accepted, which means that over the next couple of months or at least weeks, I would say the BlackRock ETF for staking is most likely going to, and that is going to make Ethereum put in my opinion, a new all-time high. I do genuinely think Ethereum was sent flying after the BlackRock ETF. Look how perfectly Ethereum hit the target, but Bitcoin held a bit better than Ethereum. Now, Ethereum has bounced off the 50-day moving average, which is a good sign. It means that most likely market makers are getting ready for the reversal. Bitcoin just about missed it. As long as Ethereum hits the dominance, is below the trend, you guys can see this is normally a very bearish pattern for dominance. When you see this rising wedge, 9 times out of 10, you see the rising wedge over here. 9 times out of 10, it always breaks to the downside. So if you guys are patient enough for the next couple of weeks, you are going to see dominance. As long as it's below this trend, you are going to see dominance potentially come back down, maybe to the low 55s. And potentially, when Altseason really, really kicks off, you're going to see it all the way down, the 50, I would say 50s to high 40s. BlackRock Sensei ETF. Yeah, so Sensei's been doing well recently. I think House of Crypto spoke about it, and every time he speaks about it, it tends to have a nice rally. But just go over some very, very bullish news. For those of you guys that do not hold Brickken, and I want to say this now, for those of you that don't hold Brickken, I do recommend you guys at least get a position in Brickken, because there is going to be some big alpha coming. So recently, they've just joined the XDC RWA acceleration. So that's for the startup. It's quite massive because XDC is most likely going to use the API to tokenize, and that's what BNB is doing, and that's what Mantra is doing now. So a lot of people are kind of speculative on this. Where is it? On this partnership right here, right? So today, Brickken and Mantra announces, so they've kind of formed some sort of alliance, and people look at this as some sort of bearish news because how bad Mantra performed, but it doesn't really affect Mantra in any source. I'll take both of them, thank you. Hold on, I just got an energy drink. Try this one. Anyways, so a lot of people look at this as a form of bearish partnership, whatever you want to call it. But the reality is it's very simple, right? Partnerships are not about token prices of the other project. It's about the connections the other project has. Mantra is partnered with many, many big institutions: Binance, Ondo, DMAC, which is the biggest real estate company in Dubai or in UAE. And these guys are now using Bricken's API to tokenize everything that Mantra couldn't tokenize. You guys keep in mind, guys, Mantra is not an RWA project from the start. It's one of those that started off as something else and then migrated to RWA, and then it had that crazy boom, which was obviously very, very leveraged. And then guess what happened? It just collapsed. And then at the same time, this partnership, Bricken's going to be tokenizing everything for Mantra. They're going to be tokenizing everything on the BNB chain, and now they're going to be tokenizing an XDC. But they also have another news dropping. I personally don't know what it is because the guy didn't really tell me, but he did tell me that there's going to be something massive dropping some alpha is happening. All financial capital markets will run on chain. Real world assets tokenization is one true Brickken vision has been validated, which means they've solidified some sort of massive partnership, and they're getting to take over pretty much. So I do genuinely think Brickken is going to explode. Now, the last time, this happened, where the CEO gave some alpha, it was the BNB partnership, and it went from like 15 cents all the way to like 60 something. So, whenever he says this, he's not lying when he gives the alpha or dropping some alpha for everyone. So I am very bullish on Brickken right now. So if you don't hold a Brickken bag, do your research into it. If you like it, or maybe get some initials or whatever. If you want to trade it, you can always trade it as well. But I am very, very bullish on Brickken. What's my thoughts on Polytrade? I do like Polytrade. I don't think it's a bad project. I think, I don't look at individual coins. I've always said I look at narratives, and when the narrative hits, almost all the projects pump. So because Polytrade is very old, and it has been established, kind of more or less everyone knows about this project. That's why you guys can see there's like 20,000 people that's added it to the portfolio. It means it's established. It means when RWA pumps, when RWA season comes in, people are going to go and buy this project, this 18,000 people, whatever. There'll probably be more, but it all depends on if you're bullish on RWA, go and buy Polytrade. I prefer other projects over Polytrade, for example, ATR, Propbase, Statex, Brickken, Relio, I prefer those over Polytrade just because they have more of a social presence compared to Polytrade. Like if you go on Twitter right now, crypto Twitter, no one really talks about Polytrade, compared to the likes of Propbase, which is always one of the top 10 most talked about crypto projects on Twitter. The likes of Relio has a massive community. Those are the type of projects when the RWA narrative really picks up, they're going to perform the best because everyone is going to talk about them. That's how it is. That's how it's always worked. So for those of you guys that was on my live stream, the last time I live streamed, someone kept asking me about AVNT, and I told you guys to buy this when it was down here literally on the last live stream. Both, as soon as I gave the alert for you guys to buy this, if those of you that liked AVNT, it went on to do like an 8x. I made an 8 or 7 8x on this from the lows when I got in. I got in at 15 cents. People that's in the soul section, I told them that I'm looking to buy this. And then, within like 2-3 days, it just exploded like 7x. So those of you that listen on the last live stream, the guy that kept asking me about AVNT, this one was a much better alternative, and it performed really well in a short period of time. And I think it was some news after news, and then a bunch of KOLs jumped on board and just pushed it. And then obviously when it gets pushed that much, you're going to see a massive retracement. But I do like this project. I think it's a good DEX, liquidity DEX for base. I just don't know how sustainable it is with all the API they're giving out. James, good to see you, bro. How you been? Appreciate that, my friend. Jimmy got the room service. Shadow, how you doing, bro? Good to see you catching alive. It's been a while for me. I'm very good, Shadow. How you been, bro? I haven't really been live streaming as much, but trust, good to see you as well. Is this Brickken news on the same level as the previous news people are aping? Yes, I do think so, yeah. This is, I don't know, about some tropical shit. Not 100x, about 100x, come on, man. Everyone knows the 100x title is not realistic. It's just clickbait. That's how you get, bro. If you don't put clickbait titles, no one's ever going to click on your channel, especially when you're a small YouTuber. So when you're a small YouTuber, you have to put clickbait titles. Even though those that watch my channel, I don't say at this stage of the cycle, you should only be aiming for 5 to 10x max. You should not be aiming for anything more than that. If you do get lucky on some, there is always a chance some of them can just go flying up. But a majority of projects at this stage of the cycle, which is coming towards the blow off top, the only ones that are going to do well is the one that's, whichever is going to be the next big narrative. No one knows what the next big narrative is going to be. At the moment, it's DEX's number 1, RWA is number 2, layer 2 is number 3 in terms of how much liquidity is, how much money is going into them. So I personally think the next big narrative is either going to be AI or RWA. So that's where I'm positioned most. Crypto G, how you doing, bro? G-Mad, how you doing, brother? Nothing changes. All is still the boss. I 100% agree with you. It is all is in a very, very bullish bull. What do we call it? A bull flag. So if you draw a line here, eventually when this bull flag breaks out, you're gonna see a massive explosion. And Russ, Russ, how you doing, bro? Russ, you're awake very, very early today. Someone mentioned Zero Lend on a live a month ago, and you were impressed by it. Did you go? Oh, Zero Lend, yes. I did like that project, but I did buy into it, but I kind of traded it and sold it off. The reason is because, as Ethereum was moving up, I was impressed with the TVL. So the TVL is quite impressive, 55 million, but only obviously 2 million market cap, and there's not much dilution, and that's quite impressive, right? But the one thing that kind of stopped me from, holding on to the project was simply because the layer 2 narrative, which is, I think if linear performs really well, I think Zero Lend will follow. So the DEX will follow, and so will the liquidity or, the TVL type of thing, the yield. I think it will perform well. And this is obviously a linear coin. So if you are bullish on linear, I do recommend, you could potentially buy this. I think this is not a bad project. Had a very big pump. When it retraced, I got in and then I sold it somewhere around here in that region. And then obviously from there, it just come back down, retraced most of the move. But this is not a bad project at all, in my opinion. I do think if linear pumps, this will ride on the back of linear. This is a good project. Is yield, anything to do with yield if this is the main yield provider, which they quite are, because 85 million total value locked, which is massive for a $2 million coin. If linear performs, people are going to come here. Layer zero, they're partnering with Redstone as well. Nice. Redstone is another project I'm quite bullish on. I don't have it on the list. I don't know where the fuck my list is gone, but I am very bullish on Redstone as well as the Oracle coin. So this is not a bad project. I probably will potentially grab a small bag. Very early, I know. What's ESX saying? So StateX is consolidating in the same range. So a lot of people talk about the volume. Well, you gotta understand the volume for this is very low, which means there's not a lot of buy pressure coming in, but there's also not a lot of sell pressure coming in. It's kind of just flat right now. That's normally a good sign that it is bottomed out. A lot of people say, it's got 5 million volume, but you have to look at where the volumes are. The volume's concentrated in one place, and HTX is known for running stupid amounts of bots. So this is not real volume. The real volume is like Nexi, 35K, Kraken, 37K. There's some decent volume on Uniswap. That's real volume. 4 million volume on one exchange is not real volume. That's bots. HTX is probably the most botted exchange in the entire space. So might be a good time to pick up some NAI. Yes, I do think it's a good time to pick up some NAI. NAI has been working tired. They've been working quite a lot. Price action is a bit slow, but they are in the age of actually marketing and developing and getting clients. The goal is to get small startups, some enterprises, and use the revenue to buy back the token. And because of how poorly the tokens performed the last couple of months, because a few whales offloaded due to the fact that they couldn't arbitrage the charts anymore. So what happens then is they sell off, they cause this massive sell-off, token price goes down, people get impatient, and then, they sell again. And now it's bottomed out. You guys can see it's clearly bottomed out. For the last month, it's just been chilling in the same region and slowly climbing up, which is a good sign that it is more or less bottomed out. So I do think Nuclei is a good project. They have stored their November unlock. So there was a November unlock for early investors. They're most likely going to stall it. Unless the token price pumps like 2-3x, then they're probably most likely bring it back in. But based on how the token's performing at the moment, the team has decided to store the unlock. The team's unlock is somewhere in 2026. So there's not really a lot of dilution anyways, because it's barely 2x dilution, but it's going to be slow. So that's very good. Speaking of, where was it? I think I pulled it up. Yeah, so if you look over here, Nuclei just got invited to Google Amsterdam, which is massive. A small, tiny project, that's actually getting invited to Google to talk about, using Nexus, to help Google is massive. They're also in talk to it with Microsoft as well, which is quite massive as well. This is the type of partnerships. Once they started marketing this and pay some KOLs to push it, it's just going to go flying up. Sub, how you doing, bro? What is the expectation regarding Altseason? So I am in the camp of Altseason happening. I know what happens normally is when Bitcoin's performing terrible and the market's performing terrible, which is kind of what's happening now. Oftentimes you get a bunch of KOLs jumping on the bandwagon. There's no Altseason, memes have ruined the thing, blah, 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 blah. There will always be Altseason in my eyes because of human nature. Human nature will never change, which means that because human nature will never change, people will always get greedy. So when Bitcoin is at 130, 140K, a bunch of people is going to rotate down. People are already rotating now, which hence why Ethereum has been performing so well recently. Once the Ethereum ETF goes live, a bunch of the people that potentially got into the Bitcoin ETF they're going to go into the Ethereum ETF, pump the price of Ethereum, stake. Institutions love yield. Once the staking goes live for Ethereum, I see Ethereum anywhere between 6 to 7 grand this cycle. I don't think we're going to go to 10. I don't think that's realistic. But I do think anywhere between 6 to 7,500 or 8,000, maybe if you get lucky for like a fast wick, is on the cards for Ethereum. And then from there, as Ethereum puts in a new all-time high, the money rotation will stop. Because then what happens is the degens, there's always going to be degens, people that hold BTC, Ethereum, it doesn't matter. They're going to move down from Ethereum down to the high caps. The high caps go parabolic. And all the people that's full ported high caps, they take profits and go into the low caps. And there's billions of dollars flowing down the list. And that's how you get Altseason. But it happens very fast. But you got to keep in mind for smaller caps, altcoins, they last to pump on the list. So if you guys remember in 2024, because people always forget and they don't realize the same shit happens every year. You spend 10 months of doing nothing. So anyone that was that's been in the markets for the last 4 or 5 years, they will know in 2022, we had the FTX crash. Market had a low rally after the FTX crash, and then through summer, all the way down towards maybe, the ETF rumors came around. The market was flat dead. Everything was just going lower slowly. And then ETF came out, the market exploded. And then in 2024, what happened was all the gains got given back. So a lot of the altcoins that pumped 20, 30, 50x in 2023 to 2024, all of them went down 80 to 90%. The people that came into 2024, they called everything a scam. How the retards, the retail buzzwords, scam, but then they don't realize is their entry is retarded. You've bought at the wrong time, and now you're calling every project a scam. You're the retard that bought at the wrong time, but now you're blaming the project, or you're blaming the project, but when the whole market went down. So then what happened was we spent most of 2024 just going down, chopping. And then in 2 months or a month and a half from September onwards, when Trump came in the office or he won the election, everything just exploded again. So we're in that stage, of 2024 that's happening now. Everyone was waiting for, some people were calling for 90K BTC, some people were calling for 100K BTC, and then market makers pushed it higher to liquidate all of them, or all the shorts that was stockpiled here, liquidated all the longs first, then the shorts, and then they push it up. That is all a market maker's game now. That's why you have to trade on the side, because if you're just holding long-term bags, you're gonna feel defeated when Bitcoin goes up 10% and your altcoins only go up 2-3%, and then Bitcoin comes down and then your altcoin puts in a new low. You're gonna feel fucked. You're gonna feel very, very defeated. So what you do is you spare 15% of your portfolio, maybe 10%, 15%, and trade. When Bitcoin, you buy a high cap here, you sell up here, and then you're ready to buy again here or somewhere close to the bottom. You're never gonna get exactly to the bottom. You DCA, and then it pushes up, and then you're consistently making little bits of money on trading. That way you don't feel like you're not doing anything, like you're not making any money the whole year. The people that are not trading, those are the ones that get the most frustrated. And the people that don't have cash on the side, those are the ones that get frustrated the most as well. So then they always ask, how come Altseason's not happening? When's Altseason going to happen? Well, if you're trading on the side, you don't care if Altseason happens or not. It will happen, but you're making money anyways. Andy, good to see you, bro. Musa, good to see you as well. LP, good to see you. What do you think about swapping my flux into Pookie? Haven't previously said, because I am a fan of Cookie. I don't think Cookie is a good project. Look, Flux is good. I'm not really a fan of Flux on the basis that, the storage narrative is not the greatest narrative in the world. It's been very, very slow and is continuously being slow. So I don't recommend people buying into storage specifically. If you just buy storage coin like Flux, which is quite old, they don't really have the same impact as they did last cycle. Storage is not as big of a narrative because we kind of bundle all of them together now. Storage, compute, they kind of just go on the deep end, right? So the likes of, even walk to earn, whatever it is, anything to do with nodes or walk to earn or shit to earn, they kind of all get categorized on the deep end, and same with storage. before, storage was a much more prominent narrative. So people only look for storage coins because storage was obviously a big thing in crypto. You need storage everywhere. It was a big thing. Now it's all classed on the deep end. So if you're bullish on deep end, then you should hold flux. But AI agents have been pretty much getting destroyed recently. So if you look at the chart for this, from a 3 months perspective, it doesn't look the best, does it? And that just shows where the AI agent narrative is at the moment. It's not performing the best. I mean, you can pull up any AI agent, some of the biggest ones, Virtuals, they've all been performing terribly. But Virtuals has released a new, they've released a new launchpad, which is kind of more fair launched. And that could potentially kickstart the next AI agent hype, because AI agents will pump again, in my opinion. That's why I hold a few. I do think they will pump, and I don't think it's a bad move to move Flux into Cookie, my friend. Britt, how you doing, bro? Drop a like, guys. Flying 2-pin pre-sale coming good play. 2-pin, I've heard of this project. I don't think I'll find it on here. Let me see. I'll have to. I can't really tell you an exact answer, my friend. Alex, good to see you, buddy. BNB going crazy, bro. That's the Binance Mafia shit, bro. The Binance Mafia shit. Fucking BNB is going crazy. I did buy some BNB down here somewhere. I'm probably going to sell it soon. But BNB has been going crazy, bro. BNB is going crazy, and all the on-chain degens are in the BNB chain right now. There's a random BNB project just fucking exploding out of nowhere. And so it's all to do with Binance. This is what Binance does when they want their chain to get, traction again. They find a coin that's low in volume, a few $100,000, maybe $1 million, which is fucking pennies for them. They pump the charts up, and then everyone keeps an eye on BNB, and all the degens go on there, and that's how they make the money back. Ahmed taking a break from debating Darwinist. Sammy, how you doing, bro? We already see some building with nuclear. Bro, there's definitely a build up, and I think it will do very well. They've been working really well. I think what happened was a few whales ruined the chart, and every time the chart's ruined, sentiment also gets ruined. That's how it is the majority of the time. But nuclear is low liquidity, so I don't recommend putting large amounts of your portfolio into it. Small percentage, and it will move very fast. Like if you just put 50K on the charts, you can pump it like 2x. That's how easy it is to move it. 50K is not a lot of money, especially when it comes to crypto. A few $100,000 will pump it loads. It's the same thing with a lot of these other projects. A few $100,000 will pump it, 2x from the lows, because they're not that liquid. AI Tech's still good. I still hold my AI Tech bag. I think it will do well. It's one of those where it kind of relies on the Binance listing now. And I do think the Binance listing will come by the end of the year. They've been doing a bunch of stuff with Binance Alpha, Binance BNB chain itself. I do think they'll get the Binance listing. It could pump anywhere between 15 to 20 cents, maybe potentially, even 15 to 20 cents a good area to DC out of this project, in my opinion. There's not much dilution left anyways. Yeah, it looks like it's ready to mount up, in my opinion, yeah. Is there much FUD on CMC about ESX? Why is there so much FUD? Look, the reason is, and I don't blame people, StateX they kind of went through the path of being unorganized. So let's say there's NFT holders that was they were kind of promised a certain amount of yield, a certain amount of tokens, because they the ESX people or the team wants to reduce selling pressure. They've kind of delayed those NFT rewards. They've delayed it. And then when something like that gets delayed, people oftentimes get frustrated and they FUD. There's a few properties that was meant to go live. They've delayed it because they're waiting for the markets to kind of pick up a bit more to release bullish news after bullish news. So, a lot of people that don't know, they also delayed all investors unlock. So before, I'm a private investor. I have a massive bag, like almost $100,000 in StateX from the private sale. My finger got delayed as well, my unlocks. So originally we were supposed to get 10% in September, 10% in October, 10% in November, and onwards, right? But because of how bad that would have destroyed the chart, they've delayed our unlocks. We only get like 2% a month, which is fuck all, right? Most people are not even gonna get out of bed for 2% or even sell it. And this is all because they don't want to ruin the chart. Like, people don't realize if you're a private investor, obviously you want your money and you want to dump it. But if they unlocked in September, this probably would have went back down here, all the way down here, and sentiment would have got even more ruined. And then it's hard to come out of that. So I do understand why they've done it, and they've delayed a few things as well, and that kind of creates FUD on the project. But it's always temporary, bro. Like I said, when the price goes up here, like it did twice, no one was FUDding. It's all about price action. And price action, when it stalls, people get frustrated because you got to keep in mind, the people that's FUDding this retail investors. They only look at price action. If price action is not doing a 10x, they will just go FUD it, even though they hold the token. So I don't really I don't even look on CoinMarketCap. There's a fucking retard that's using some guy has made a fake account on my name on CoinMarketCap, and he's just going around chatting that shit. It's funny. But I don't use CoinMarketCap. I just think it's a terrible platform, bro. I use CoinGecko. CoinGecko is so much better. Everything's up to date. And you don't have a bunch of fucking retards, these guys don't have a comment section where it's just retail investors being retail investors, funding a project when it's down, praising it when it's up. That's how it is. I just don't pay attention to it. That's like the worst platform. Well, there's a few retards. There's a few people that kicked out of the private group. These are like 60-year-old pedophiles. They go on CoinMarketCap. They've made a fake account of me as well. And I can't believe people think it's actually me. It's fucking retarded people, bro. They made a fake account. They go and chat bare shit on there once a couple of weeks when they get bored, and people take it serious. Like, you got to keep in mind, you're not here to copy retail investors. Retail will be retail. Retails are retail retards for a reason. You don't want to be listening to retail investors. That's why I don't ever use CoinMarketCap, because a bunch of people, what they do is they look at a project, they like the project, but then they go on CoinMarketCap and they check the comments, and there's a bunch of fucking retards that decided to full put it up here, and now it's down here, and they're funny calling it a scam. Those are the type of people that come on there, call it a scam. And if you're not smart and you listen to these type of people that probably bought here, and is now down here, they're frustrated to go and FUD the project. Those are the type of people you're going to be, influenced by. And I don't even want to be looking at that type of shit. Hell no, but anything to do with gaming is not suitable for trading. Am I familiar with Wire? Yes, I am. I am familiar with it. But that project went to like 20, 30K market cap, and then it just exploded. Or I think it was 40, 50K market cap down here. Someone in my private group shared this. He shared it ages ago, and it just fucking exploded. I am aware of this. I don't think it's a bad project. It's obviously very manipulated, because this pump right here was caused by a few groups. So you have to keep that in mind. When it comes, when you see sell-offs like this, just randomly after a big pump, is a pump and dump by a few different groups. So you have to be careful. But I don't think it's a bad project, but I personally would not invest into it just because it's too risky. Promoting memes, title of the stream, which is, I don't really look. There's a few memes that I do like, and I do. Memes at the moment are quite dead. You have to keep that in mind. A majority of the meme coins at the moment, they're very, very underperforming. A few meme coins that you could buy right now, Altcoin is one of them. I don't think Altcoin is going anywhere. Another meme that I've been accumulating recently is Corey. This is, this is a good meme on the Bonk ecosystem. So if you are bullish on Bonk, if you're bullish on Useless, which I am quite bullish on Useless, I've been trading this shit loads. If Useless makes a big move, then, which it kind of has already, right? It's almost like 2x from the lows. If you got into the lows, Useless pumps, guess what happens? This always follows. Corey is one of the strongest memes, and it is backed by the Bond guy. And the Bond guy can really, really move projects. So when he talks about it, just expect 20, 30% candle out of the blue. I've traded this like 2-3 times already, And every single time, this move to here was almost like a 3x move, and now is at the same range. So it makes sense to accumulate when it pumps 2 to 3x to take profits. So this is one that I've accumulated. I haven't really sold anything yet because it hasn't really pumped. Milli is another one that I've been, I've just chucked like £500 at it. The chart looks really good. You look at the chart, it comes down to these levels, and then as soon as C makes a small move up, it also makes a big move up. So Milli is another good meme coin on the C chain. If you're bullish on C, I'm very bullish on C. I do think Milli can also pump. Now, these obviously high risk reward, so you don't go and chuck your whole portfolio into them, but chuck a few hundred, depending on your portfolio size, maybe $1,000, maybe some people might even be like $50. Depends on your portfolio size, very small amount, but they move very well. Just yesterday, for example, this moved like 30%, just random wick. If you're trading them and it comes back to the range again, you can just buy, sell, buy, sell. That's how you make money in this space. So yeah, this is a good meme coin in my opinion. Just look at the chart. That's a very healthy chart. It's been consolidating in the same region more or less for pretty much forever now. Ever since it had that pump, it's consolidating. It's not trying to go lower. It's in the same region, which is healthy. So Corey, I'm a big fan of Corey right now. Just because I believe Bonk will come back. Right now, the BNB chain is the prominent chain. All the degens are in BNB. When they go back to Solana, they're going to go back to Bonk as well. And then when you see the Bonk coin, this is one of the main Bonk memes. It will definitely move. Thoughts on REC? I hold REC myself. Yes, I do hold REC. I got into it like 1.3 million. It's been doing very well. I'm probably up about 2x on this. I think is a good degen project in the RWA space. I don't think it's a bad project. They've been bringing a lot of. Hold on, I just got Watch Guru News. See what it says. JP Morgan says U.S. government shutdown will not hurt financial markets. No. I look, the government shutdown thing is quite smart. I think what they're doing is very, very simple, right? They don't want to release the negative unemployment data, so they shut it down. At the same time, while the government is shut down, there's no government spending. So what they're doing now is, because like I said, if you guys listen to my channel, I've said it a million times, right? Most of inflation and most of GDP, or a high percentage of both of them, when GDP is high, is because government is spending more. If government is shut down, guess what's going to happen over the next couple of months? GDP is going to come down and inflation is going to come down. And what that will do is it will fuel the Fed to actually cut rates more aggressively and faster. And I think this is Trump's plan when it comes to this government shutdown shit. And they most likely will want higher unemployment, because the higher unemployment, because you got to keep in mind, the Fed and the government is two different entities. The Fed wants, maximum unemployment and low inflation. Fucking the government don't give a shit about inflation. They want to refinance the debt because they have to pay back the debt, whether it's, I think it's this year or early next year, whenever it is. They need to refinance the debt, so they need inflation, or they need interest rates as low as possible, because every single percentage point, costs them billions of dollars. So the Fed is in a sticky position because inflation is going up, government spending, GDP is still high, unemployment is going higher. So what the government is doing now, they're laying off a bunch of people, causing unemployment to go higher. Now that they shut down the government, GDP is going to come down. You guys will notice in the next couple of months of data, GDP is going to come down and inflation is going to come down, because both of those factors get heavily influenced by government spending. So if the government shut down, that's what's going to happen. And that's going to fuel more rate cuts. So this is, I'm 100% sure, it's most likely Trump's plan. I think BNB, Solana finally also rotate. Yeah, base. Base will definitely have this time. A majority of the base coins, like Hint, for example, right? They're down because the money has rotated out of base into BNB and Solana. And eventually it will go back into base and then all the base coins will just explode up. So for those of you guys that are talking about bearish and bullish on certain coins, it's all about rotation. It's all it is the degens go from one chain to pump low caps to another chain pump low caps to another chain pump low caps. That's how it is. And right now they're in BNB. I think next Solana is most likely going to be next, and then after Solana we'll go back to base. Will Sound take our profits in a bull run? Do you think it will not be ideal to rotate our profits in high caps like Redstone or try to increase our hard-earned money gains? No, I don't recommend anyone doing that, bro. Once you make money, don't put it into Redstone or any of these other stuff, because unless they're giving you yield, which even then I don't trust any yield. I've had friends, whale friends that put 200-300 grand into yield earning stuff, and they got hacked and they've lost all their money. So the best thing to do is, however much money you make this cycle, put it into cash, put it into USDT, put it on USDC, and put it into different cold wallets. Don't put it in one cold wallet or in Trust Wallet or this and that. Obviously, don't keep it on no exchanges unless you're actively looking to buy stuff, trade stuff, whatever, right? Short stuff, that's fine. But never, ever put everything into one place. Go buy a Tangent, go buy a fucking Ledger, go buy, a Trezor, whatever it is. Go buy a bunch of them, because, when you make a bunch of money, you have to look after your wealth. Spending a few $100s on some of these cold wallets is smart to do. If you're, made a bunch of money this cycle, you made a decent amount of money, let's say, because that money then can be grown in the bear market. When you go into the bear market, you got to keep in mind as well, no one knows what's going to happen with USDC, and no one knows what's going to happen with USDT. So you never ever put your wealth into one of them, because if one of them depegs, you got 100K, you made 100K, you depegs, you're going to have like 10 fucking 1 grand left when it depegs. So you have to be very careful. Obviously, you want to put it into USDT and USDC because they're the biggest, right? But they can always depeg and then, get pegged again, whatever. No homo. That sounded gay. You have to look after your wealth in the bear market, and never ever put your money into any yield assets, because what oftentimes happens is, and I've noticed this, right? When a project's pumping, people forget everything. They forget that, even when crypto's pumping in general, they forget that some of these, like, everyone was so bullish on AI agents in 2024 at the end. They forget that 6 months down the line or 4 months down the line, sentiment and interest is going to move somewhere else. And all those AI agent coins that were pumping 20, 50x then, and everyone was so bullish on it, they don't realize that's, crypto and sentiment and areas of interest changes as well. And all the stuff you were once bullish on could potentially 6 months down the line just go to shits. And that's the same thing with yield earning assets. Like some of these big projects that, give you 5-10% yield, they could be good now in a bull market, but in a bear market, you don't know what's going to happen. They could rug. So you have to be careful not to put your money into any yield assets. People get too greedy. They earn a bunch of money and they want to go earn even more money. And that's how people oftentimes lose their money. So keep it in cash and then wait for the bear market to reinvest it. Exactly, 100%. Yeah, is AIDS, bro. Pump meme pewter. Maneki is still good. Fuck no, bro. I don't buy old Maneki. Just accumulating more ore, blue, ESX, and pump. Yeah, that's a solid list. Blue is good as well as a DEX on. Right now the DEX narrative is hot, so that's why HDX, for example, went parabolic in one swift move, and that's because the DEX narrative is hot. But look how quick it comes down as well, so you have to be careful. That's the exact same. Any updates with Inj? Yes, I need to talk about Inj actually. So Inj, so a lot of you guys that follow me on Twitter, for example, Pineapple is like a NASDAQ company. They're potentially wanting to raise $100 million to buy more Inj for the treasury, and they're going to stake it, right? They've just bought $10 million in open market, which means I thought they're going to do some behind closed doors, that anyways, I thought they were going to do some sort of, over the counter type of trade, but it seems they're buying it, on the market, which is good. It's very good for Injective. It means there's going to be $100 million flowing into the Inj token, and there's still 90 million more to go. So there's a lot of buy pressure coming for Inj. So that's very good to see. What's Bitcoin doing? Fucking hell, Bitcoin struggling. Ondo as well. Where's Ondo? Let me see. Yeah, Ondo just bought Oasis Pro, US broker license in hand. So this is very smart move from Ondo. They've just bought a license broker, and you know what they're gonna do with that. I haven't looked into the project though. You need to stream and upload a video every day. Love the channel. I will do it, but just be lazy, cuz. Wait till what price do you think BTC and ETH can drop? BTC specifically, I don't really think. I think the area of interest to look out for is this 50-day moving average, which is around 120.4.5. I think that's an area to look for. If BTC puts in a double bottom, in the next hour candle, next 4-hour candle, if it comes back down to 120.8, which we just visited, just look for the double bottom sign. When it double bottoms and it holds, then that's a good area to potentially DCA in. Thoughts on Artify? Is that the new project, the new Artify, or the old one? I can't find it. Is that the new one that's on Binance? Let me know. I've looked into it already. I think that 50 million project is released. I think it's possible, yes, but I think more than 2030 is NAI down for a long time. Yeah, NAI has been down for a long time, yeah. But then, most projects have been going down. Remember what I said? 1 month or 1 or 2 weeks of very bullish price action will take out 6-7 months of bearish price action. That's exactly what happened to all. The same thing will happen to NAI. As long as the team is developing, price action will always catch up. Trust me. Parcel got to 60 cents last December. Do you think it could go back there or even higher? No, I don't think so. People got to realize Parcel did very well last in December. Not because it's an amazing project, because I don't think it is personally. You got to keep in mind, Parcel was fairly new, and they got the Binance or Coinbase was pushing it. And once that Coinbase listing happened, it did pump quite a decent amount. But you have to remember, Alex, Parcel has no token utility at all. You don't need the token to use the project. You have to remember that. You don't need the token. The token is there for no reason. You can use the Parcel platform, buy the properties or whatever. That's why the TVL is so shit. Bro, this TVL is fucking horrendous. This was actually a lot higher before. They've just reduced. It's just going lower and lower and lower because you don't need the token. So why do you need to lock it up? It's pointless. All the properties, there's no Parcel buying. There's no token utility for the properties that are on board. It's just pointless. You look at this project, right? It's got $30 million in market cap and only 5 million TVL. You look at Brickken. Brickken has $17 million in market cap, half the market cap, but the TVL is 35 million, and by the end of this year, it will probably be around 50 million, which shows there's a lot more interest, a lot more people using this chain than there is on Parcel. TVL is not that good for the market cap and how much exposure this has. And plus, there's a bunch more unlocks happening as well. I'd prefer other projects over Parcel based on token utility. You don't need the Parcel token for anything on Parcel. So for me, it's not worth. It's just like a token. It's like one of those fucking dexes that just have a dex token for no reason, just to farm people. Like PancakeSwap and Uniswap, you don't get no benefits of holding the token. For example, NAI, with the recent Helix, their product, you can get free access if you hold the NAI token. You can either use monthly subscriptions or you can go buy NAI, a certain amount of NAI, and you get free access to it. That's called token utility. ATR, you need to stake the token to get, to enter the raffles. Prop base, you need to stake the token to get access to the properties that they're on board for you to earn yield. That's token utility. For Parcel, you don't need the token for anything on the platform. It's just there to farm people, in my eyes. What do I think about QAI? House of Crypto shared it to us. I haven't looked into it. I need to look into it. I do think it's around the corner. I mean, just based off dominance, as long as dominance is going lower, which is always good, dominance going down, While BTC is going down, it means people are accumulating, or they're going back into USDT at least, which is kind of what's happening now. If USDT gets dominance, gets rejected after 50-day, which is this gray line, it's a good sign for us. Do I think even microcaps? Some microcaps will, yes. It all depends on which narrative pops off. A microcap in a dead narrative is not just going to do a 5 to 10x. They might do a 3 to 5 to 6x because most things move at that time. But in terms of doing the 20, 30x's, it all depends on the narrative. And oftentimes, when the narrative hits, the coin could have been classed as rug before, and it will still pump. For example, I don't know if this is still on this. Let me see if I can find it. There was a project called Ecta, right? This one right here. This one right here. There was a project called Ecta. I got into this project, a very long time ago, and the team openly said that they're leaving the project. So the team said they've left the project, whatever. This was fucking back in 2022, 2023, right? It was such a long time ago. The team literally said, we're leaving the project. We're no longer here. And bro, in 2023, or 2024, when the RWA season pumped, bro, this shit pumped like 10x. Even though it was a clear dead token, the team has abandoned it. So anything will pump when the narrative hits. Everything. It all depends on the narrative. Or is also going to be dropping their launchpad, which I think is going to do very well. This launchpad is going to be massive because anyone can use it, whether you're a project, an individual, you want to grow your YouTube channel, you want to grow your Twitter, you want to, potentially even you can turn it into a business. People don't realize this. You can go to, companies that need data, ask for a price, go on the data hub, whatever data they need, and then you can post it, pay the people that provide the data for you, give it to that company, get paid from the company, and you can pay whatever, the people in this token. So you can either make your own token or pay it all. It's quite good. And then this, I think, is massive. So three NASDAQ listed companies are now in talks with all. The momentum is unstoppable. So one of them is AMD or Intel. One of them is. I don't know what the other two are. So that's even. I thought it was only one, but it's 3 NASDAQ companies that are working or at least interested in all. And one of them, I think they've had their 5th call now. Shows there's a lot of interest there, which is always good to see. Anything else that I missed? This is a good shot as well. So if you go look at, total free market cap, it just broke out. It broke out of this cup and handle. There's a clear rejection. It broke out of it now. And the other project, Alt/BTC, has finally had a bullish cross on the MACD. The last time we had a bearish cross on the MACD, for dominance, Bitcoin dominance, it was somewhere around, let me zoom out. It was somewhere around these regions where the MACD on the monthly crossed bearish, and since then it's only been coming down. And there's a bullish MACD cross on Alt/BTC pairs, which means there's going to be some sort of alt season coming within the next 2 to 3 months. And there's going to be a lot of euphoria. You have to be very careful. When euphoria hits, don't be part of the herd. DCAL. Is Sensei still at 10? I still think Sensei can do a 10 to 15x, in my opinion. He could push for a 20x as well. Just because, people don't realize Sensei is now a 10 times better project than he was when he pumped last year. People don't realize this. Sensei back in here barely had any products, had no clients. Now Sensei has 3,000 clients. 3,000 clients. They make anywhere between 40 to 50 grand a month. That's on the starter pack. They probably have some institutional packs. So anywhere between 40 to 70 grand a month. That's almost $1 million a year. Eventually, they're going to be releasing a new product in November as well. And I think it's something to do with, preserving the knowledge in businesses. And that's going to be used by other clients. So their client base is growing massively. Just go on their Twitter I mean, on the Telegram, sorry. Go in the Telegram group and check every single time a new starter pack is purchased. The bot will tell you, and it's just every day there's new clients signing up, and that's very, very good because any project that's actually generating revenue has the incentive to grow the company. At the end of the day, these are small companies. The more clients you have, the longer you're going to last in the game. Sensei could be here for another 2 cycles. Who knows? Because they're generating revenue, they can keep expanding the team, they can keep developing. A lot of projects, the reason they go down is because they don't generate revenue. They can't keep, the token price is not going to be going up forever. They can't keep selling the token price because community leaves. So they have no way of funding. VCs are not going to invest into them because they're too small, etc. But the ones that generate real revenue from the product, those are the ones that's going to be around for a very long time. And those are the ones that's going to give you stupid amounts of money. What do I think about stablecoin project XLR? I wouldn't buy it now. I think it's I do like the project, but you have to keep in mind any project that's fairly launched or brand new launched, they will always have that initial pump, and then afterwards you have to wait for it to bottom out. I mean, it's $1 billion market cap company. Is like you don't really need to buy this realistically. It's a good project though. I think the stablecoin stuff is hot right now, so it can do well. Matt, good to see you, but what about AI Tech? Can it do a 10x or is that a stretch? AI Tech 30A, 10x, 500 million. It's on the cards, yes. Like 500 million for AI Tech is not off the cards if Deepin really picks up. And I think Deepin will really pick up. Because more and more people are starting to talk about data centers and Deepin, etc. Do you see ESX getting back on track? I think so, yeah. I think one of the issues they fucking had, ESX specifically, was they kind of, when they say they've been working for so long and people don't realize they don't really have a lot of products. They got products, that they care about. I mean, that they talk about a lot, sorry. Not care about, but they talk about a lot. But in terms of actual products, they don't really have that much. They've got the basic tokenization stuff where I think the first property is sold out in 5 minutes. So they can tokenize properties, but there's like 5 other products that they need to bring out. The PayX and, the lend, the borrow and lend thing. These are the type of things they need to start releasing. They have released their testnet for the layer 1, which is good because layer 1 for RWA is bullish because, if you got Launchpad, for example, the Launchpad, every single Launchpad project, and they have secured a few, they're just waiting to release it. Every single Launchpad, every project that launches on the Launchpad needs to have an ESX pair. So, they earn money from that. So, for example, if someone goes and buys, Plasma on the ESX chain, ESX will get a certain cut of the transaction, and then 25% or some shit, or 30% of that money they get from the chain goes back into buying back the tokens. So there's that aspect of it, which I think is quite good. They just need to get it out and get projects on there because it not only does it grow the TV out, it also generates them a bunch of income, from the gas fees. Mugen, good to see you, brother. How you doing? Anything else, guys? We're coming up to an hour. Let me see if I missed anything else out here. Brickken, Max D. Oh, prop base. I have not showed this. So prop base, a project sitting at around $8-9 million in market cap has 63,000 chain holders. People don't realize how massive that is, bro. 63,000 chain holders, which shows real organic growth. It's not just bullshit. A lot of chains, like for example, you look at Tibber, right? These weird ass chains that have $200-300 million in market cap, 270 million, and the chart looks like this. Well, these are the projects that's going to come down 70-80% in one clip in like 1 to 2 days. For example, look at a perfect example of a chart like Tibber, because these are all, they're not organic. The holders are minimal. It's controlled by a few whales. And then look what happens. It goes from 20 something cents all the way down to 4 cents in like a space of a couple of weeks, like 2-3 weeks. That's not organic. This is what happens. The exact same shit is going to happen to this. Why? Because it's very obvious. You look at the base chain. How did this only have 57,000 holders? It doesn't make sense. A market cap of 270 million should not have 57,000 holders. What that means is a majority of the supply is held by the top 10, 20 wallets. And it's very concentrated in a few different wallets. And because there's not enough liquidity for a lot of these projects, I mean, just look at the volume, bro. It's like less than 1% volume, just over 1% volume to market cap ratio, which is terrible. Remember, these are the ones that are gonna get fucked very, very fast. But yeah, that's 63,000 holders, and they're aiming to get to 100,000 by the end of the year. That's real organic growth. That's why I like prop base, because it's unlikely to rug. The money is spread very, very wide. Not one person cannot fuck up the chart. And a lot of other projects they can, because it's concentrated in a few top 20, 30 wallets. Bullish on Edge, old school deepen, first Edge super cloud hot for robotics. Let's have a look at Edge. I think robotics can do well. Oh, this project. Oh, which one? This one right here. This is a debt. Saying the right Edge, bro. Yeah, I think you might be talking about this Edge. Ethereum 14. What the fuck is this chart? Yeah, no, I'm not buying this. I'm not even looking at this. Do SX still plan to do new tier 1 listing Binance? I don't think it'll be Binance, but it will be. They are going to get a couple listings this in the next 2 to 3 months. By the end of the year, they'll probably get around 2 to 3 listings. One of them will be a tier 1. I can't tell you who it is, but it's not Binance though. Right? It's definitely not going to be Binance. I think Binance is a waste of money, personally. Victor, how you doing, bro? Binance is always anyone that spends $4 or $5 million in Binance is stupid. Like, unless Binance wants to list you personally, which they never ever want to do, but if they do, I just only do at the peak of the cycle. It's not worth it. Rice. So it's not. I would say it's not a scam, but this chart is very volatile. I mean, come on, look at the chart. Does that look like an organic chart to you, bro? It's just flat, and then randomly just starts to pump 30, 40, 50%, flat, randomly wants to dump, and then randomly just wants to explode up. Just weird candles. This is the Binance candle, bro. This is what Binance charts look like. That's why I don't like Binance. Another project that I made like a 7-8x on is this one right here, right? This shit right here. Got into it around here, made some money, sold it, got back into it somewhere around these regions, right? Sold it around 5-6 cents, and then boom. This is the Binance shit, bro. Fucking Binance shit. It's normal in Binance. I think these motherfuckers are gonna now. Binance is the most mafia type of scammy shit ever, bro. Like, look, this is the type of shit they do. This is not organic, bro. All the volume is like on one exchange. I think most of the volume is on BitGet. Fuck all on Mexi. I could barely sell this shit on Mexi. But look at that, bro. Does that look like is organic? This is all Binance shit, bro. Anything that's on Binance Alpha will probably pump like this if the team, and then boom, they just dump the shit out of it, bro. And then these guys will probably migrate to a new contract soon. That's what I think will happen. Am I bullish on Rio? Yes, I am very bullish on Rio. Rio's there's going to be some good stuff coming for Rio, like a lot of tokenization in the UAE, a lot. And they're slowly dropping the hints. But this is pretty much bottomed out. I mean, look at that chart, man. This is being flat since March of this year. A lot of pumps in between. These are the charts you want to buy. Do I think gaming narrative will still... I think gaming narrative will have a little pump, but I think it will be somewhere towards the end of the cycle. Now, no one's going to go out of their way to pump gaming, but I think if a gaming narrative comes back, it probably will be the biggest narrative, and I think it will last the longest, just because of all the coins that are dead. People are just going to keep pumping left and right. That's what I think. People are going to keep pumping gaming coins left and right because all of them are down like 90 to 99% from the all-time highs. I think it will happen, but I think it will happen at the later stage of the cycle. Maybe sometime in 2026, if we get an extended cycle, I think 2026 could happen. Do I think TARS AI will pump eventually? TARS AI, I haven't really been keeping up track with them, to be honest with you. Not been keeping on track. The thing with TARS AI is it depends on when they want to pay a new wave of influencers. That's what it comes down to. Because when people say, oh, everyone talks about TARS AI, everyone talks about this and that, the reason they talk about it is because they're paid. And they have to pay a bunch of money. And when they're ready to pump the token again, whenever they feel like it, they'll pay a fresh wave of new KOLs or the same KOLs, and they'll pump it again. That's what it is. That's why, no one really. If you look at all the KOLs, no one continuously talks about it because it's not organic. It's not real conviction. Look at House of Crypto. He's been talking about Sensei since last year. That's conviction because he bought the project without them paying. That's why it's important, to do it. To obviously pay influencers is important, obviously, for the token price. But it's also important to have KOLs that actually have conviction in it because they're going to continuously talk about it. And the thing with TARS AI is a lot of those guys does not have conviction. They're just paid to show. And that's why hasn't really done too much in the last few months. Just put a new low bounce, put a new low bounce. I think it will eventually pump. When Deepin gets hot, it will pump. Delario, appreciate it. Hit the likes, guys. I'm probably going to get off in the next 5 minutes. I do think. I haven't really been keeping up track with the developments, though. That's the thing. Let me have a look. So are they doing anything good? 2nd of October, something new is coming to TARS AI. So what is it? What's new? So they haven't posted shit. Yeah, look, this is always a red flag, bro, when they post once a month. Team TARS AI has been headed in building recently, blah, blah, blah. AWS Gen. That was 8th of September. So it took them, almost a month to post something. 2nd of October, and they've just delayed it. Maybe it's a new listing or something. Yeah, they barely post, though. I don't know why they've done. They turned into Griffin. Yeah, I don't know, man. They're just better projects than TARS AI, in my opinion. For the market cap they has and everything, bro, I just don't see why people even buy this shit, honestly. It's just better projects. $33 million in market cap. There's so many better projects than this, in my opinion, at least. I don't think it's just when a project has such a bad history of scamming early investors and barely posting, no new developments, is the same shit over and over again. I'm not a fan of that type of thing, personally. Anyways, guys, appreciate all of you guys for coming down. Hit the like on your way out. I am going to get off. I've got to go football in the next half an hour. So I will be live again. What is it today? Today's Tuesday. I'll probably be live on maybe Thursday or Friday. I don't know. Shinobi, you come right at the end, buddy. You got any questions, Shinobi, before I go off? I want to answer. So if you got any questions. But just to summarize the live stream, I think for BTC, as long as we hold somewhere around here in the next day or two, because we do have FOMC minutes tomorrow, and anytime there's some sort of big data coming out, or some big, any type of important event or meeting, you are going to see a little pullback in the markets. Very, very normal. Before FOMC tomorrow minutes, people are going to kind of take a little bit of profits off the table and I'll potentially just sell off a little bit. So that's all it is. Nothing to be fully bearish about, in my opinion. It is going to be short-lived. If BTC holds the 121 in the next couple of days, I do think we probably will go higher, because you look at this right here, there's way more shorts than there is longs, way more. And what they're doing, in my opinion, is They've liquidated the shorts. I mean, the longs now. They're gonna, more people are gonna get bearish. There's gonna be a bunch more shorts on, and then they're gonna liquidate a bunch of the shorts, and that's how the blow off top will come. What about Punky Toshi? What about Punky Toshi Turbo? I probably will get Toshi out of that list. Just because I'm bullish on base, so I'll probably get Toshi. Yeah, get Toshi, but that's a very healthy chart. Toshi's good. Turbo. Yeah, get Toshi, bro. I mean, Turbo's probably a better buy because it hasn't pumped as much, but Toshi looks a lot better than a lot of the other ones. Feeling good to see you, bro. How you doing? Everything Altcoin, how you doing, bro? Get on Zora, boss. I traded Zora, but when it pulled back like 23%, I bought some and I took profits. But let's have a look. Yeah, that's a bullish chart, that is. So this is, I bought some here and then I sold it somewhere around these regions, bro. It had a massive pullback. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Was there some sort of unlock or something? I don't know. But Zora will have this time again, in my opinion. Just because when money goes back into base, a lot of these base coins are going to pump. This is going to pump. Guy's going to pump. Hint's going to pump. This is another pretty decent sized, very well shielded base coin. And if you look at the chart, it's just continuously going lower. If this goes below 20 cents, maybe 15 cents, if we get lucky, between 15 to 18 cents, I think it's a good region to accumulate. If it comes down here, that'll be even better. But I don't think it will, though. It's unlikely. This is another good token on the base ecosystem as well. BitCrunch and Ondo. I'm bullish on Ondo, but I don't know about BitCrunch. Is that an exchange? Am I still bullish on Snift? I hold my position, but I think they're going to get delisted on Mexi. Mexi is any project that's broke, it's just all about a survival game for them, honestly. That's why, like DJ and coins, you have to put in what you can afford to lose. Because until like the fucking blow off top happens, it's just a lot of them might not even survive. Like they'll get delisted here, delisted there. I mean, autos chose to get delisted of every exchange. I think it's I mean trade them coins. Oh yes. That's quite smart, I think the base edge. I have heard rumors that the base edge drop will happen. So when base releases their tokens, everyone that trades on chain to buy these tokens, I do think they will get a decent size edge drop. It's quite smart actually. Everything Altcoin. Make sure you guys check out Everything Altcoin, bro. This guy, if you guys like base, definitely check out his channel, bro. He knows everything about base. When I need tokens on base, I'll go to him. Bro, Mexi, I swear, Mexi, right? When they were like a tier 5 exchange, there were tokens on there. I remember that had like 2K market cap and they'll still keep it on. Now there's tokens that have 100, 200, 300K, almost $1 million market cap, and they delisted them. And I think it does have a lot to do with how much bigger Mexi has become since then, and it has a lot to do with regulation as well, because we get a lot of regulation. So anything that's that's not doing certain things, or they're not paying them enough, or whatever it is, right? They just fucking delist them, and Mexi's been on a lot of fuck recently. Mexi is a big gap, but those two exchanges been on a lot of fuck. What's my thoughts on Lingo? I don't know about Lingo, man. They just haven't been posting shit, and they keep lying about these airdrops. This was one of those projects that I was never really a fan of, just because if you look at the elements, they did have the shillers and everything, but bro, they keep doing these fake announcements, and if you read the comments, right, people talk about, yo, I won this and I just never got it. No, look at this. Been on Lingo since farming, and my stake Lingo hasn't won me anything. Can't even tell all the 6 elements since December 2004, and I believe your only favor is to buy the token stake price. So there's a bunch of people here that because I was thinking of buying it, just how cheap it is at the moment. But a lot of people said that they won the thingy, that they've won a bunch of these awards, but they have just never been paid, which is always a bit weird. Thanks to the alpha drop in the buzz on DMT, solving end times doomsday scenario for Bitcoin. But I'm gonna get off, bro. I'm gonna get off. Hit the lights on your way out, boys. Appreciate every single one of you for coming down. I'll be live within the next couple of days. Let's see how the market behaves. If anything major happens, I will go live to update you guys. But at the moment, I am still bullish. I think any little pullback should be bidded. Just wait for what Bitcoin does after FOMC. I don't think anyone should be mass buying now. Just wait for after FOMC. I have bought some C-pool. I think someone in my group calls this random big ass candle, but I don't know why. But I have bought some C-pool. I think C-pool will do well. Yo, I think it's struggling right now. Take care, guys. Hit a like on your way out. I'll see you guys in a few days. Bye-bye.